And joining me in studio now is Mr. Matt Chipman. He's the editor-in-chief of the Green Baron Report. Matt, always good to see you.
Great to be here, Don. Thanks.
Well, it's great to have you. We haven't spoken to you in a little while, and the last time we had you on the program, we were trying to wedge our way through what was news of doom and gloom, and there was a lot of negative things going on in the press. But overall, there seems to be a lot of reasons for optimism, especially in the markets. I mean, I'm sensing, and a lot of analysts are sensing, that we've got a huge rally that may have already begun in the S&P and will take us through the end of next year.
Yeah, I expected there to be a rally because the market already put in what we think it was a bottom, and it calls a bottom 6 months ahead of time.
Right.
I was expecting this rally to take us up to about 9,300, and I know we're getting close there. So I'm not going to say the rally's a little long in the tooth. We may see some pullbacks along the way. But I think what happens when people forecast and analyze what's going on in the economy that are bearish, they don't take into account all the money and all the activity that's being generated while it's just standing still. So what you're seeing here is activity on a lot of stocks has gone through the roof. People are making money on the upside. Where does all that money go when they make that money? It goes back into the market.
Exactly.
You know, they've taken out the bear restrictions. You know what the short selling rules were killing the market.
Exactly.
When bank stocks would drop, you know, $20 in a day, and the banks now they're doing fabulous. I got to tell you, they're holding on to their cash and they're being conservative.
Yeah. And now, you know, now that the SEC has finally made permanent the restrictions against naked short selling, I mean, that's going to happen a lot. That's going to help a lot of the small companies that you and I follow quite closely, because let's face it, naked short selling, which is the practice of selling something you don't actually have ownership of, was killing a lot of small companies.
It certainly was, and you know, it's great to see the activity come back to those stocks, because I mean, we've picked up coverage on companies the last 35, 40 days, and the volume has just been staggering, you know, and it's nice to see.
Yeah, we're seeing companies that are trading at rock bottom prices, but at the same time they're trading 150, 200 million shares a day, and that's only going to spur more activity and more focus on those companies.
Yeah, and I'd like to focus also on what companies are doing these days, and what they've been forced to do is to trim the fat. You know, a lot of people don't want to see their jobs getting lost, but at the same time, the companies are saving money and they're more, lean. You'll see a lot of revenues coming out in earnings reports where the revenues are down 25%, 30% in some cases, or more, but their profits are up. And it's like, what are they doing? Well, they took their write-offs. They took those losses in the last 2, 3, 4 quarters, and now these earnings reports that are coming out now, they're blowing out of the water, and so you're getting these runs in the market.
Well, it's really interesting because it really seems like we've gone back to fundamentals. I mean, a lot of times we would buy, purely on conjecture, purely on speculation, and now we're going back and we're looking at earnings, we're looking at fundamentals, we're looking at solid companies with, tremendous growth opportunities, and that's what seems to be driving the market.
Yeah, I agree. It's something that I think that market observers are now taking. They're really analyzing the companies. I'm glad to see this because people are really looking at what drives a stock and what the really basic reasons why you're in a company, and it's nice to see it come back. I still have my concerns out there. I mean, look, there's a lot of problems and a lot of bad numbers that I think are drifting out there, and you're going to see those occur for a little while longer. You may see the market have some pullbacks coming up, and we may get some surprises, but I think we are out of the woods.
Well, the fear factor that injected itself into this recession is something that we really haven't dealt with before. And if you look at the recessions of that have happened in the 60s, the 70s, even in the 80s, it never really affected our homes. I mean, we could always count on our home's value, and this time around, that didn't happen. And that's what I think got a lot of people frightened, especially when they start seeing bank-owned signs going up on their street. Regardless of where you live, it happened just about everywhere. But we seem to be getting to the end of that tremendous period of fear surrounding homes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what may be some of the lingering problems that are out there. What we needed was time to work through this. What you're seeing is a lot of companies formed to acquire all these properties,
right.
And it takes time. You can't just form a company to go out there and buy homes at reduced prices. It takes time, and then once you get the bidders into the market, then you'll see the prices stabilize and then start to go up. I still think we're going to see some inventory come into the market because a lot of homes were bought at overinflated prices. I think we needed to have an adjustment to the craziness that was going on.
Well, you mentioned the craziness, and you're spot on, because we talked about this on this program before, almost overnight everyone became a real estate speculator. There were 2 or 3 reality shows on TV about real estate speculation, flip this house and flip that, whatever the case may be. And you mentioned companies that have taken on real estate in their business model. I mean, we're following a couple of companies here at MoneyTV that are doing just that. So it's really interesting how the inventory of available real estate is beginning to shrink. And that's affecting the laws of supply and demand. And when that happens, prices will start going back up again.
Yeah, I believe we may be close to that. I certainly would I'd like to be in the market myself soon, you know, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way now that prices have come off that 30, 40, some cases 50%, and it's a good time. Just like some of these stocks that we're talking about in the market, in the micro cap and small cap arena. There's some great values out there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, for people who are listening to our conversation, they're saying, you know, gee, Matt sounds like a pretty smart guy. I'd like to follow what he's doing. How can they get in touch with you?
I just go and visit our website. Go to thegreenbaron.com. Click on any Join Now icon. We're one of those guys that does not share your email address, so you can feel secure doing that. We are coming out with a new Green Baron stock pick on Tuesday next week, and we think it's going to be after the close. Our picks recently have been just going, you know, doing very well, and I think this one will do the same.
You know, our 2 companies have a lot in common. We both follow small companies. We also both do not share email addresses. Once again, Matt Chipman, editor-in-chief of The Green Baron, and the website is thegreenbaron.com. Matt, your insight's always valuable. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Don.